What are ethics? The meaning of ethics is quite clear, but it becomes easier to grasp when compared with two other well-known branches of philosophy. In Stoic philosophy, there are three main areas of focus. Logic is the study of reasoning and the principles that guide our thinking. It helps us to understand how to make sound and rational decisions based on evidence and clear thinking. By using logic, we can identify logical fallacies and errors in arguments, and we can evaluate the validity and strength of statements and claims. Overall, logic is a valuable tool that aids us in critical thinking and making well-informed choices. Physics is a branch of science that deals with understanding the fundamental laws and principles that govern the natural world. It explores the behavior of matter and energy, from the smallest particles to the largest celestial bodies. Physics helps us explain how things work and allows us to make predictions about what will happen in different situations. Ethics is a branch of philosophy that involves knowing what is right or wrong. It explores questions about how individuals and societies should behave and what actions are morally acceptable. Ethics also examines concepts like fairness, honesty, and respect for others. Logic is when we find and make better tools for thinking, like if /else/ or /then, and likely/unlikely/then. In today's world, children are usually taught how to use these tools at a young age, and we usually don't appreciate their importance. But they are really important for how we deal with, question, and have fun with the information we have. Physics is the study of how things function, how the universe functions at its core, and how people act and react to their surroundings. Finally, ethics is a subject in philosophy that studies how people behave, how we treat each other, and what is considered right or wrong in these situations. This comes from the word ethos, which means one's personality or moral qualities. Ethics is a study that seeks to understand and evaluate human morality. It involves questioning whether actions are right or wrong, good or evil, virtuous or viceful, just or criminal. To figure out if someone is behaving correctly or not, or how we can live a good life, we need to study ethics and philosophy to find the answers. What are ethics important? Ethics are important for several reasons. First, our understanding of what is right and wrong will help us make good choices. How we think about what is right and wrong will affect how we react to what happens around us, and it will decide if those actions are good or bad. Our understanding of right and wrong will determine how we control our own actions. If we don't know what is right and wrong, it's more likely that our actions will be bad or evil. If we know how our actions affect others in the world, we can more easily behave in a good and fair way. Socrates had the idea that a smart person understands what is good and bad and acts accordingly without having to think too much about it. He also said that evil happens because people don't know what is right and wrong. So, to be a good person, we need to understand who we are, think about how we affect the world, and be able to decide between what is right and what is wrong. The study of ethics is useful for us in understanding and dealing with this. Fields of ethics. Metaethics. Metaethics is the part of ethics that examines the subject from a very high perspective. Here we are wondering if it is possible to truly know what is morally right or wrong. We also explore what information is necessary to make judgments about morality. Lastly, we question whether the concepts of right and wrong are always personal and based on individual beliefs and values. Metaethics deals with the study of subjective morality. This text asks whether right and wrong are decided using facts and data or emotions and feelings. Normative ethics. Normative ethics is the most useful part of ethics for regular people in their daily lives. This field is about studying how people behave and how they treat themselves, others, and their environment. When we think about how we should behave, how to be a good person, and how we should treat others, we're talking about normative ethics. Virtue ethics is a type of ethics that was popular in ancient Greek philosophy, especially among the Stoics. Knowing and understanding ourselves well is important because it helps us realize how we affect the world and helps us improve our behavior to become more virtuous. Being virtuous helps us become better people. A person who is self-aware can recognize how they are responding to their surroundings and can intentionally choose to act in a better way. On the other hand, someone who is not aware or doesn't know what they are doing will not realize how they react to their surroundings or how their actions affect others. This means that they cannot control their actions and are easily influenced by what is happening around them. Socrates believed that when people know what is right and wrong, they will naturally choose to do what is good. He thought that ignorance and not being able to tell right from wrong leads to doing bad things. Applied ethics. Applied ethics is a part of ethics that is used in real-life situations, like in the fields of law, bioengineering, and business. This includes items such as testing on people and animals is wrong because it goes against moral standards. Unfair practices by businesses that harm consumers. Abortion rights, the right for a woman to choose to end a pregnancy. Military ethics refers to the moral principles and rules that govern the conduct of armed forces. It involves making decisions based on what is right and wrong and ensuring that wars and conflicts are fought in a just and fair manner. One aspect of military ethics is the banning of certain weapons. This means that some weapons are prohibited or not allowed to be used in warfare due to their devastating effects or the harm they cause to civilians and the environment. Machine learning is when computers learn from data and make decisions or predictions without being explicitly programmed. Ethical learning algorithms involve teaching machines to make decisions that are morally right and fair. Examples of ethics. Stoic ethics. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus believed that the most important thing for a person is to have a peaceful and calm mind. Having inner peace is the best thing a person can have. To have it, you need to have control over your wants and feelings. To completely control our thoughts and emotions, we need to be strong and not let difficult situations, failures, or how other people act affect us. Epictetus believed that if we get angry because of how other people behave, it shows that we don't have control over how we feel inside. This means that our well-being will be influenced by what others do. The Stoics believed that virtue is important in life. Temperance means being able to control yourself even when you really want to do something or act a certain way. Wisdom means being able to see the world and others without any unfair judgments or biases. Justice means doing the right thing in our community and treating others well. Courage means being able to do the right thing even when there are reasons not to. Hedonism is the belief that the best thing we can do in life is to make ourselves as happy as possible and avoid anything that causes us pain. Hedonism can be seen in two ways. Some people enjoy all kinds of pleasure, while others try to avoid excessive pleasure in order to have more enjoyable experiences overall. The Epicureans didn't like extreme types of pleasure and thought that certain pleasures were bad for people's well-being. Epicurus believed that when people seek pleasure without any limits, it can lead to harmful habits and behaviors, like addiction, and harming one's own body. So sometimes when people search for pleasure without any limits, it often ends up causing them pain. Consequentialism is the idea that whether something is good or bad depends on how it affects the world around us. A morally right act means doing something that leads to a positive outcome. This view is often explained as the results are worth the methods used. In this view, what happens as a result is seen as more important than what actually happens. Sometimes, even if someone wants to do something bad, their actions could end up helping a lot of people. This means that what they did could be considered ethically good. How can we use ethics? So, how can we apply good moral values in our everyday life? A simple way to become a good person is to think about what being a good person means to you and then work on becoming that kind of person by learning how. This will probably involve we want to figure out what makes someone good or bad so we can have a guide for how to be ethical and develop our own moral beliefs. Knowing ourselves and being conscious of our actions and reactions is crucial. If we don't understand how we behave and respond to things around us, it becomes challenging to control our behavior and become better individuals. Being mindful means being aware of our actions while we are doing them. It is difficult to control or change our behavior if we are not conscious of what we are doing. So, being aware of the present moment will help us notice when we're doing something, stop our usual behavior, and intentionally choose how to behave. The more we practice, the better we get at it. Soon we will get used to pausing before we do something and deciding if it's the right thing to do. We will naturally start moving towards a good and virtuous way of living.